The Center for Church and Prison will hold a conference for returning citizens. The event takes place Friday, August 8th, 6:30 p.m. at Roxbury Community College. To tell us about the conference is our guest from the center, the Executive Director, Reverend George Walters-Sleyon. Thank you very much for being with us, Reverend.
Thank you, Chris. It's a pleasure.
The emphasis here is going to be on wellness. Explain how that works.
Well, basically the focus of the conference, threefold. One, dealing with the psychological as well, which has a lot to do with emotional stability, mental stability. And then we have job creation, emphasis on small business development, economic empowerment, economic mobility, which is vital to adequate reintegration for these people coming out. And then you have also the whole piece on family reunification and fatherhood and community reintegration. Those pieces are fundamental to any form of reintegration based on research that has been done. And then also there is the spiritual piece where faith plays a role in the lives of these men and women that are coming out.
Talk a little bit about the difficulties with family reunification, because this sounds as stressful as it is for someone to be in the service and come back from war. I guess with prison, there's these other factors. Somebody's been convicted of a crime too.
Well, what has happened over the years is that there has been a lot of restrictions on family visitations in prisons. So that what then happened is that when inmates are behind bars and cannot connect with their families, based on several policies, it becomes difficult for them to adequately reintegrate when they come out. Why? Because there has been created then a bridge, which makes it absolutely difficult because the old connection has been lost. You see, so when they come out, it's like they have to start all over. And so what we're trying to do at this conference is to provide the resources and training and bring together experts that can talk to them about how to maintain that relationship when they come out. Because sometimes, even when they come out, it's difficult for them to reconnect with their wives, with their fathers, their mothers, their close relatives, and their children. You see, it takes a while for these relatives to embrace them, to allow them to come back into their lives, especially their children, since they've been out for a long time.
Another issue you have is the mental health of ex-offenders, and what about their access to services for that? I imagine there must be a gap.
Well, there has been a gap, and mental illness has increased as a result of the high rate of incarceration. As a matter of fact, it has been stated, researched over and over in the American criminal justice system. You find a lot of the mentally ill criminalized and incarcerated. You see, so which is a problem, which is a huge problem. Now, on the local front, what you see here in Massachusetts is that a lot of people coming out do not have access to these resources. There may be some resources, but access becomes absolutely difficult. So what we're trying to do is to bring some of these resources to the conference as well, so they can have access to them and know where to go, who to contact.
You have some advice for people coming to the conference, and you're really reaching out to people who've done time and have come out of prison. So what do you want them to do to prepare for this?
Well, those that are coming out should be convinced that, and should be aware that this conference is a resource conference. Also, it's one that is based on information availability, but then also motivation and inspiration, especially for returning citizens. Because we feel that if returning citizens or formerly incarcerated folks are motivated and inspired, it makes a big difference in their lives with respect to adequate reintegration. But then secondly, the focus is also bringing formerly incarcerated individuals who have, so to speak, moved beyond some of the challenges and have made experienced some kind of financial, social, political, economic mobility, for them to come and speak to the others here and say, look, I have made it. This is my story. And I think you can make it as well. So that's the focus of the conference. Of course, we may have, and we are going to have a lot of non-returning citizens there, but we want them to come and have an open mind, for them to be able to say, look, what can I do to help this particular population? You see, and how can I bring resources to them?
Well, in addition to some of the ex-offenders, talk about some of the other speakers who are going to be there.
Well, we are absolutely delighted to have our keynote speaker is a young man called Abigail Forrester. Abigail Forrester went to prison when he was in his teens, but over the years he has he went to college since he came out. He has worked with several organizations in Boston, and right now he's the criminal justice director for Youth Build USA. And he's in Boston here, but he has made phenomenal stride, and he's such an example. And so we feel that bringing such an individual giving him a platform to share his story makes a big difference. Obviously, we have Dan Wilkerson, Honorable Dan Wilkerson. She will be speaking as well. Former City Councilor Chuck Turner and others will be there as well. We have clergy. We have people who are social workers as well. Will be speaking to some of them. Of course, we're going to have a lot of formerly incarcerated individuals who will be telling their story as well.
I think one problem many of the ex-offenders you're trying to reach have is with education, because they might have been unable to finish high school, and they keep hearing you can't get a job unless you have skills. So they might be discouraged by that. So what would you do to get them over that?
Well, you see, so there are several ways to go around this. Of course, there are. You have the menial jobs. You have and also jobs in construction and other areas where they are going. But what we are emphasizing here, and part of the goal of this conference, is to say, look, what are your skills? What are your natural skills? Are you open to starting your own business? What about entrepreneurship? You see, so we're bringing small business experts to talk to them, people who have started their own businesses, again, returning citizens who have started their own businesses and have made it, to say, look, one way of getting beyond this hump is for you to start your own business. Whatever it is you need to start that is illegal, we need you to get the skills and the principles involved for you to start something. So that's the route we are going with this.
Well, one other factor here is probation. You've been concerned about this for a number of years, and we're hearing more about this now with the convictions in federal court recently. But anything you'd like to see differently done in probation right now that would help keep prisoners from going back?
Well, one thing is there has to be, to some extent, a reasonable understanding with respect to jobs for people who are on probation. Sometimes you have the probation fee. Take, for instance, when a person comes out, they have to pay the fee. The question then becomes, do they have a job? And what is the length of time that they have to find a job for them to begin to pay the fee? So it's these fees, whether it's parole fee or probation fee, that basically becomes a burden. Because when this person comes out, they are concerned about, where am I going to stay? If they've got no relatives around to allow them to sleep on their couches, it becomes absolutely difficult. They have to leave those places for them to go and look for jobs. Now you've got Corey, which again is a stumbling block, you see. So you've got all of these things. We hope that the probation board can take into consideration some of the very, very, what I call existential concerns associated with adequate reintegration when a person is on probation. They have to be very realistic.
We should have one reminder for people going to the conference. Dress professionally, and what is the time and place exactly?
Yes, we want all attendees at the conference to be professionally dressed, because it is a networking conference as well. And you want to put your best foot forward. And then also the conference is next week, the 8th and the 9th of August at Roxbury Community College. It starts at 12 o'clock. Registration doors open at 12 o'clock at Roxbury. And it ends on Friday in the night, but then it starts on Saturday, the whole day of Saturday. We're going to be having a lot of breakout sessions, and we're looking forward to a huge turnout. And so if you're listening to this, we want you to please tell individuals that you know that are formerly incarcerated to please come out and take advantage of the resources.
And if people want more information about the event or the Center for Church and Prison, you have a website?
They can go on our website, which is churchandprison.org, churchandprison.org.
Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Reverend George Walters-Sleyon. Up next, the Dorchester Report with Bill Forey.